In this video, I'm putting on my Nostradamus hat again. I'm talking about Pokemon Go and what augmented reality ultimately means for publishing, because whether you like it or not, it's already here. Unless you've been living under the rock for the last few weeks, as of the publication of this video, you've probably heard of Pokemon Go. It's an app that uses augmented reality where the world of Pokemon overlays our own so that you can see Pokemon interacting in the real world as if they were actually there. It looks stunning, actually. People have been going crazy over this app, and I think it's great that Nintendo did something so nostalgic that made them relevant again, even for just a few weeks. What I want to talk about is augmented reality and what it means for publishing. Because let's not forget, whatever happens in the real world comes to publishing about 5 years later, and usually very late after it's been accepted into the mainstream. For example, online courses, masterminds, YouTube channels, all these things are going on right now in the author space, but internet marketers have been using them for years. So what kind of doors does augmented reality open for authors, and how can you position yourself accordingly? Remember that when a new technology arises, people usually dismiss it and make fun of it because it's seen as a time waster. Then people start getting smart, marketers start adopting it, businesses get smart, and then everyone jumps on board, and overnight, people aren't laughing anymore. You don't believe me? Look at Facebook. Same thing here, guys. Looking at this, I think augmented reality is going to pave the way for true virtual reality and make it more palatable to the mainstream. You're going to see augmented reality invade the retail spaces, travel, and more. And also, don't limit your thinking to phones. This will absolutely hit contact lenses at some point, which opens up all kinds of doors for innovation. It's also going to hit the Internet of Things, which is also coming in a big way. So whenever I see these new technologies, I try to think like a futurist, and I try to think about the short term and what these new technologies could potentially mean for us in the publishing industry. And in publishing, in my opinion, the real opportunity is in book discoverability. Imagine Goodreads using this as part of its recommendation engine. Imagine that it could scan the actual contents of your book and understand what's inside. So for example, when you're at a hotel and you want to read a book that takes place in a hotel, maybe you click a little box in the Goodreads settings that says, look at where I am, track my location, and when I'm in an interesting place like a hotel or a restaurant, serve me content or book recommendations that take place in those sorts of areas. So for example, if you're in a hotel and you want to read a book that takes place in a hotel, your phone might vibrate while you're walking up to the front desk, and to your left you'll see a visual representation of a bookstore with several books about hotels, served just for you. Since Goodreads will know your preferences, it'll serve up books that are custom tailored for you, like thrillers and science fiction, for example, in my case. You could touch the books or read or hear the first few pages, from an audiobook perspective, or maybe if there's a movie version, you could tap it and you could watch the first few minutes of the movie version or a trailer while you're waiting for the clerk to come and check you into the hotel. Whether a book appears will be determined by the algorithm, but also by pay-per-click advertising that authors and publishers can pay for. So you can pay some money like you can with a Facebook ad, and your book might appear randomly in the wild to someone. Now, some of that might seem a little far-fetched, but let's imagine for a second an algorithm first that knows exactly what's in your book. Well, we've been talking about that for years. That'd be something, right? Well, it's already been here for a couple of years. It just hasn't been adopted by a major player yet, and the technology's not quite there, but it's coming soon. The jump into augmented reality, with the hotel and the 3D books and stuff that I talked about, that's an easy jump after that. Or imagine a startup that redefines how people find books, exactly like Pokemon Go. They take your book and turn it into an augmented place which can randomly appear anywhere in the world. With my upcoming book, Old Dark, imagine if readers went hunting for new books to read and they found my book out in the wild. They could open it and be transported into a true virtual world. For example, maybe they end up in, my dragon's palace and he's sitting inside growling at them. Maybe they can ask him pre-filled questions and he'll respond to give them a feel for what the book is about. And right then and there, they could buy the book on Amazon or at their favorite retailer. That would take sampling to a new level, and maybe an author pays the startup $500 to have the company create all of this for them. Or imagine this, readers can project your book into their field of vision and read it that way instead of reading it on an app. There are really, a number of ways that this is going to affect authors, but I think it's going to affect readers primarily. And I think that's how we have to be thinking about it, because maybe there's going to be some sort of augmented reality solution to writing. I can't see what that would be, right? But I think when we talk about augmented reality and its cousin, virtual reality, I think we have to think about it in the lens of readers and how they're going to consume stories. But I do think over the next couple of years, if this is something that catches on, maybe it won't, but I think it will. I think that augmented reality is going to be an innovative win for readers, and you're going to start seeing companies that are serving up solutions for it. I think the best way for authors right now to position themselves for long-term success here is just to write books, write good books, and keep building your tribe. The first real opportunities are going to come from startups, and those startups are going to tap the authors who already have big, recognizable brands and audiences first. That's just how it goes. So keep writing and be ready. In my 2015 Indie Author State of the Union, I talked about how someone was going to crack the discoverability nut. I don't know how it's going to be cracked or what it's going to look like, but I'm optimistic and I still think that it's going to happen before 2020. One of the important skills that you have to develop as an entrepreneur, and it's one that I'm sharpening myself, and I'm by no means a professional at it. I just made predictions that may not even come true. But the skill that you have to cultivate is staying abreast of the news and being able to project trends. Never dismiss anything just simply because it's not to your taste. There are a lot of people out there, I mentioned Pokemon Go. There's a lot of people out there that will, turn their noses up at it. And I think they miss the bigger point. All those people right now who are making fun of Pokemon Go, they're going to look awfully silly in a few years when augmented reality hits for real. So take some time to think about it. That's it for this video. If this is your first time watching, I'd love to have you subscribe. And if this video helped you in some way, do me a favor and click the like button. Thanks for watching.